So, The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Enhanced Edition. These are my opinions on the game. Now, overall it's a good game. I'm going to get into some details. It was pretty good. There's some things I don't really like. There's some things which I think are amazing, but I'll get to them all in a bit. First thing I'll talk about is the Enhanced Edition itself. Like, I'm reviewing the Xbox 360 version. I haven't played the PC version, but I've seen it played, so some things I'm going to understand and some things I won't. First thing is the console version benefits in some ways because it gets all the DLC right off the bat. The PC version can get it all for free now, but the console version gets all about 4 hours of extra content, all bundled in on the discs, and it comes on 2 discs, so those of you who don't like swapping discs are probably going to be a bit annoyed with this, but I personally don't care at all. The extra content is pretty good actually. There's one quest which I did quite early on, one about a troll, and it was very well done. Like, I didn't even realise it was DLC till I started reading about it later on. I just played it and thought, oh look, that troll looks quite cool, and then did the quest and finished it. It's quite a short thing. There's some longer DLC in it, but that's the one which I remember mostly, just because I didn't even realise it was DLC. It just fit that well into the game, just popped up there. Now, the game itself isn't as like open as games like Skyrim and Oblivion and all them games, because they're all big open world games and allow you to do everything that you want. You just make your own adventure. This game's more focused and streamlined onto the main quest. I compare this game more to things like Dragon Age and Dragon Age 2, because it reminds me a lot of them. The gameplay and everything, and the way it looks is a lot Dragon Age. It's much darker and dingier than Dragon Age, but everything about it really is Dragon Age. When I first started playing it, I was like, this is quite Dragon Age-y. It's much better than Dragon Age though, don't get me wrong. Another thing that makes it a little bit disappointing to some is that on Skyrim you can customise your face and everything, and a lot of people have become accustomed to that in these role-playing games. But this, your face, it's what it is. What it is on the front of the box is what you get. You can customise things like your clothes, like your trousers, your gloves, your top, things like that, and you can change your hair, but that's about it really. Now, when I first started playing it, I thought I'd play the tutorial because I've heard it was quite a challenging game. So I thought I'll play the tutorial, just get used to it, and the tutorial doesn't do it justice at all. I nearly stopped playing because of the tutorial, and I'm so glad that I didn't. The tutorial is just boring and slow, and at first the controls are going to baffle you. Like, especially the combat controls, they're quite difficult. At the end of the tutorial, you have to do a combat test, and it says, like, how many enemies that you kill will determine the difficulty that they suggest, and I normally stick games on a higher difficulty than just like normal, just make it a bit more challenging for me. And I was like, oh, I'm going to kill them all, it'll be easy. I killed 1, and I was like, oh no, how am I going to play this game if I've only killed 1? So I actually did the tutorial twice, just to see if I could get used to it, and then played the main game, and I've got much better at it now. You get much more used to using the spells to help you, and strong attacks and weak attacks, which enemies to use them on. But at first, it's gonna take a good like hour or 2 just to get into the combat. But if you play it on easy, like I did the first time, then you shouldn't have a problem at all. And like I said, once you get used to it, the game is great. The combat turns out to be amazing. It works so well. Even when you fight in big groups, you just feel like you're actually in the combat, and you feel every blow of your sword against them, and it's just very visceral and very, very, very well thought out, the combat. It's much better than Skyrim, where you're just like mashing the attack button. Much, much better than Skyrim in that respect. Also in the combat you can use equipment to help you out. Now, I never got really used to drinking the potions and making them before the combat near the start, but you get much better at it later on. You know, you can kind of judge when combat's going to happen, so you have to prepare for battle before the battle instead of just drinking health potions during. In that way it's different to like Skyrim and Dragon Age and other fantasy role-playing games. The graphics on this game are very, very good. It's good for a console game. The PC game, like I said, I've seen the PC game played on maxed out settings, and that just looks unbelievable. It looks amazing on the PC. On the console, you can tell they've had to lower it, but it's still not disappointing at all for a console game. I installed it to my hard drive to improve performance, and since it's 2 discs it adds up to about 15 gigabytes, so if you've got room on your hard drive, I'd suggest doing it, because I've heard it improves the running of the game by a good load. It'll improve it a lot. Now, the controls on the console game are quite good actually. I was expecting it to not work out that well, since, you know, you've got a whole keyboard and a mouse to work with on the PC title, but on the console, with everything being on one controller, I think they did a very, very good job on it. One of the things I don't like at all about the console version of the game is the looting system. I don't think it works at all. I'm assuming on the PC version, when the box pops up in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can just like select the things that you want, but on the console version there's no option to do that, so you just have to take everything out of it. So say you just want the gold, you just have to take all the cloth and the iron ore and everything out of the box, and then you have to mess around with the inventory, which doesn't work that well either, because there's a weight limit on it, and if you're just taking everything all the time, you're going to fill that weight limit up very, very quickly. And that's another thing I'm not a big fan of, the inventory screen. I think it's just a bit of a mess to me. Like, you have to go over something and compare it to the item you've got currently equipped, and you have to do that with every single item. There's no details about it apart from the weight and the gold that you'll get from it. So in that way, it's a bit difficult to manage, but you get used to it throughout the game. Overall, I think the game's very, very good. It works very well in a console game. Like I said, the controls work well, apart from the inventory and the looting systems. I don't think they work that well. But other than that, everything is very, very good, and I'd recommend everyone to play this game. So, thanks for watching again, guys. See ya.